morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice the Radio. And today, we've got a very new, very first ever Coalossal card that we need to be talking about. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it was absolutely worth the wait. We got a bunch of cards from Sword and Shield 2 Rebellion Crash that we need to be talking about over the next couple of days. This has jumped straight to the top of the list, and I honestly believe that this could be a super impactful card. Let's take a look, shall we? First of all, we got 160 HP, which is high, but then again, it is a stage 2 in 2020, so maybe not overly high. We've got a retreat cost of 4, which is nice. Retreat cost of 4 means that we can use buff padding to give ourselves extra HP. It means we can search it out with Pokemaniac. There are some lovely little advantages to having a retreat cost of 4. It's got a weakness to grass, which isn't ideal. Rillaboom decks may at some point in the future become pretty gosh darn good, and Rillaboom is kind of similar to this in quite a lot of ways. So that's something I suppose we need to watch out for. And you're a fighting Pokemon, and fighting Pokemon is awesome. Fighting Pokemon means that you've got Diancie Prism Star to do extra damage. It means that you've got Karate Belt to reduce your attack cost. It means you've got Martial Arts Dojo to do a bit of extra damage. It means weakness on Pikachu and Zekrom, or more Pico, or things of that nature. It's a good time to be a fighting Pokemon. Now, I should mention our translation comes from the lovely Antoine Moulet, though I did have a go on Google Translate with this one, and I think I got it pretty much spot on. And you see, the biggest problem with fighting Pokemon has long been lack of energy acceleration. We've not had good energy acceleration for fighting Pokemon. Good news, ladies and gentlemen. Might I introduce you to Coalossal? And Coalossal here has got an ability that says once during your turn, you may attach a fighting energy and a fire energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way that you like. Yep, this one is just awesome. And as a side note, Antoine has translated it here as your Pokemon, not your bench Pokemon, so you can accelerate energy to Coalossal if you so wish. I don't think you're often going to want to, but it does remain a possibility that you can if that's what you're into. This is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. Because we've not had good fighting energy acceleration for quite a long time. I mean, the last time we really had half-decent fighting energy acceleration, and it's really not that amazing, was Carbink Break. 1 fighting energy, 20 damage, attach 2 energy from your discard pile to one of your fighting Pokemon. Now, at least that was energy, not basic energy or fighting energy. So you could use it for strong energy, for instance, which was a great thing. And around the same time, we had Garchomp, who accelerated 1, and again it was energy, so it could get strong energy, but it really wasn't anything to write home about. I mean, a little while ago, I was using, and I was not the only one, using the Regirock from Legends Awakened, whereby you discarded a couple cards from your hand and attached the fighting energy to itself, and then maybe you could move it off. I mean, I used this with Lucian's Assignment, for goodness sake. It was not exactly the best way to do it. Fighting energy has generally not been a great type for energy acceleration. And now we actually have proper fighting energy acceleration. And make no mistake about it, this is going to make a whole bunch of cards that weren't viable. It's basically Vikavolt. This is basically Vikavolt, but for fighting and fire, rather than grass and lightning. And alright, it is from the discard pile, not from the deck. And from the deck is a bit easier because you don't have to have that extra step of discarding it, but it's largely the same kind of thing here. Now, for fire Pokemon, we're not terribly excited. We've got Welder. And basically, until August or September 2021, when Welder rotates out, we're just going to use Welder. And at that point, if we've got any fire Pokemon we still want to play, stuff like Torkoal V as an example, then yeah, maybe at that point we're going to start going to Coalossal, but honestly, I don't see this as something we're getting excited about for fire energy. This is all about fighting energy, and when it comes to fighting energy, oh my goodness, I am in, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, straight off the bat, how about Machamp and Marshadow? You see, Marshadow and Machamp has been a good Pokemon since it came out. It's just been far too expensive. 2 energy, 30 damage. If any of your Pokemon were KO'd by damage from an opponent's attack last turn, this attack does 90 damage. And it's for a fighting and a colourless. Yeah, you see, this might accelerate fighting and fire, and we might not be terribly excited about the fire, but the fire just pays the colourless cost here. And then you're off and rolling. But now we've actually got this GX attack, and I adore the GX attack. 2 fighting, 2 colourless energy, 200 damage, and if you would be knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack during their next turn, you're not knocked out, you go down to 10 HP remaining, giving you a turn to heal it up or super scoop up or something along those lines. It's a phenomenal GX attack, but 2 fighting, 2 colourless has basically been unpayably large. So that's kind of ridiculous. Another Pokemon that really springs to mind here is the Terrakion, which came around in Unified Minds. 1 fighting, 2 colourless energy, 50 damage. If all of your bench Pokemon have at least 1 damage counter on them, you do 150 more. 200 damage for free energy. And the only real way to pay this is going to be with Karate Belt and Twin Energy, which will only work if you're behind on prizes. Now, you use this ability, attach any energy from your hand, and then all of a sudden you're just paying it. Stonjourner V and Stonjourner V Max all of a sudden become potentially actually really viable Pokemon in terms of speed. Now, I will say they do use only fighting energy, so it does become a little bit awkward here. Stonjourner V, free energy 150, Stonjourner V Max, free energy 200, and they've got good attacks for 1 energy, and then you can help to accelerate. But essentially, it's turn 1, you just use the attack, guard press, 40 damage, reduce damage done to you next turn by 20, and then next turn, assuming you've got a Coalossal on the field, you use the ability, attach another energy, and you're off. But now we need to go back to Regirock V, one of my personal favourites. 2 fighting, 1 colourless, 190, and then 30 to itself. Well now, energy for the turn, this ability, and that's all free energy and you're off, and the colourless energy just becomes a fire energy. Flygon GX all of a sudden becomes a lot better. Now, you are looking at a second stage too, I grant ya, but Flygon GX is awesome, and free energy 240 as long as there's a stadium in play and you discard it. That's kind of redonkulous, and all of a sudden this becomes a turn faster. Now, again, you're only talking fighting energy here. The fire energy won't do you any good. But remember, you do not have to accelerate both the energy to the same Pokemon, which means that you put the fighting energy on Flygon and the fire energy anywhere you like. It really doesn't matter. And that's my point about all of this. Even Onyx GX maybe becomes quite good. Okay, it's still kind of expensive, but let's not forget Onyx GX actually has its own stadium. That means it takes 40 less damage from attacks the following turn. It's just... oh, sorry, not the following turn, just any time the stadium's out. And you've also got Brock's training to get more energy on there. Well, even more than you were having on there. So, I don't know, maybe even that becomes something you can think about. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that all of these Pokemon instantly become amazing powerhouses. What I am going to do is tell you that all of these Pokemon all of a sudden become an awful lot better. Because now you can actually accelerate energy onto them, and you can actually get them working. And it's not just for these, it's any fighting Pokemon from here until it rotates out. And that's what's the most exciting about this. It just keeps going. And we can keep using this on any new Pokemon that is released in the future. The only real downside here, of course, is the fact that it is still a Stage 2, and that's a little bit upsetting. And the lovely Antoine Boulet pointed this out over on Twitter, and I wasn't the only one to see it, and I doubt he's the only one to see it. Wish we had Corinna right now. Corinna lets you search for a Pokemon that is fighting type and an item card, so you would literally be able to search Coalossal and a rare candy, and that would be amazing. We've still got plenty of options nowadays. We've got better Pokemon search. We've got Rosa, so when a Pokemon's KO'd, you can play Rosa and then search for a Pokemon, a basic energy, and a trainer card. So that will get you up and rolling. And we've seen some success in multiple Stage 2 decks with Inteleon. So I do think it can still work. It's just, it would be so much better if we could just, have Corinna back. But I think Stage 2s are viable now in a way they haven't been for a while. And I do believe this ability is just that good. There have been dozens and dozens of videos that I have personally made where I have been saying, if we had fighting energy acceleration. Well, now we do have fighting energy acceleration. And we've basically got to look at this one first, because if we don't look at this one, then any fighting Pokemon I look at, when we're looking at the rest of the reveals from this set, I'm not going to be able to do a good enough job at looking at them because I'm not mentioning about the ridiculous energy acceleration they've now got. Make no mistake about it, this is a game changer for all fighting Pokemon. You can use it for fire Pokemon, but it's not the same because Welder remains a phenomenal card. I'm giving this 5 Wassies, and this is one of those I might be proven to be a little bit overly excited about, and it might not be quite as good as I'm making out. But I love fighting Pokemon. It has pretty much always been my favourite typing in the Pokemon TCG, and now you're giving me a card that makes all of them a lot better. I'm all in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm all in. But I'd like to know what you feel about this, so, let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are awesome and we love them. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.